Welcome back to another Beam podcast episode. Today I'm joined by Kathryn and Andrew from Aurion. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Welcome to our podcast. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves, your role at Aurion, and then we'll talk a little bit about what makes Aurion special?
Sure. My name's Kathryn Wilson and I'm the Managing Director at Aurion. And I've been with Aurion since 2014.
And I'm Andrew Michael, Director of Commercial at Aurion, and I've been with Aurion since 2012.
Fantastic. So what makes Aurion special? Why are they a standout payroll platform?
Aurion is a 40-year-old Australian-based company. We're born and bred here in Brisbane, although the business actually started as a project in federal government. We've evolved over those 40 years and we now cover many verticals, covering business sizes from 20 employees, and we have other organisations up to 70 and 80,000 employees. So we're across the broad spread of the Australian market.
And what connections do you still have with the government? You're still an ATO service provider, right?
We're an ATO digital service provider, which just ensures that all of the information that we're submitting out of our systems go directly where they should be going.
And what about the platform? Is there any specific tools or specific parts of the platform that stands it out or is different?
Our platform's designed to be intuitive to running the payroll process. We've got 800 years of experience in our business and we know payroll for the Australian market. So we've built our software accordingly. It guides you through the payroll process so that you can focus on checking what's right rather than having to do the do.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, a federal government project that ended up in a successful running software platform is a rarity. So, I mean, from those early days of setting up, what's changed, I guess, from being a government project to being in the public sector now? What have you seen change in your time in Aurion?
My time in Aurion, I think what has changed is the focus on compliance and regulatory has always been there, but it's more relevant now with so much media around payroll theft and all of the intricacies that go with that. It's about getting payroll right. It's not simple. Payroll's often seen as a back office function that just has to happen and people just get paid, but it's not something that people generally invest in to get the best of what they need. So the Aurion product, with its trusted build and consistent deliverables around quality and compliance, ensures that when people are paying their most important assets in their business, that they are being paid promptly and accurately and on time.
I mean, so you guys, Aurion is transitioning to your next generation platform. What's coming ahead? What's new in the platform?
Well, it's definitely cloud native, still focused on Australian payroll only, and it's designed to be more intuitive for the end users. So we've got the customer's perspective in mind that you only want to see certain things. You don't need to know the intricacies of what's going on in the background of the software. We're very closely tied to the regulatory bodies where payroll's a constantly evolving environment. And as the business owner or the payroll manager or the accountant who's running the payroll, you have other interests in mind, not just trying to pay people. We try to take that pain away from you in an intuitive, easy viewing platform.
The beauty of that, though, is also, whilst they don't have to be in on it, they can open it all out and all of the calculations are there for them to see and to share with whoever they need to share them with. So it's all there.
If I can add, it promotes that transparency. And we've introduced, with the fact that it's cloud native now, we've introduced the fact that it's real time. So whether you're a small business owner and you've got half an hour free to do some payroll, you can actually work on the pay run without having to lock down the system and kick everyone out in order to do your process. You can work on it as the pay period's flowing. So we've definitely listened to our feedback and users and what people actually want to do, rather than have to have a laborious payroll process, which is somewhat traditional.
Real time's a good point, I think, particularly with Payday Super coming. If you are unaware of Payday Super starting 1 July 2026, you clearly haven't been listening to our podcast enough, because we talk about it basically every time. What impacts is the Payday Super legislation having on your decisions with real-time payments, with being more cloud native? What changes are you making in line with the legislation that's coming?
Our Chief Architect and Product Manager are currently working through the ATO requirements for Payday Super. Our system currently, you can pay super at Payday, so the functionality exists already in our payroll, and we recommend to all of our clients that if they can, they should be submitting payroll the super payments at Payday now. The changes that will happen with our software will be that the intricacies, as defined by the ATO, will be configured into and structured into our software so that it is all automated.
And product readiness is something that's going to be on everyone's mind. I think being able to work on day one of the new financial year on 1 July is so vital. Knowing that Aurion is more or less ready to do that now must be quite comforting for your users, right?
Absolutely, and I think, we with STP1, STP2 now with Payday Super, it's really important that we are first to market and that we can give that confidence to our customers that the system will do what they are required to be doing.
Yeah. And we're in constant conversation with the ATO and our trusted partners like Beam. So it's one thing having the payroll software, being able to pay super on Payday, but then working closely with our Beam partner to ensure that the super makes its way to the fund at the right time, because it's closing the loop and having visibility on that for the end customer and end user, because traditionally there probably wasn't a focus on watching your super hit your super fund. But with Payday Super, that visibility will be baseline expectations.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that Beam has been quite vocal about since the announcement was made all those years ago. About readiness kind of starts now. Readiness isn't 1 July 2026. Readiness happened at the start of this year, basically. And being not just aware of what you need to do to change, but what software needs to do as well. And, to your point, Andy, transparency, knowing as an employee that I'm going to get paid on time every time is such a vital part of our entire job market. I think there'd be some questions being asked if more people knew their super was late or unpaid. And now it's just going to happen immediately.
And as an employer, you want to know that the tools that you use in your business, that's payroll and super and other ecosystem tools, are doing the hard work for you. So that's where we focus on Australian payroll. We want to know everything that's happening in the Australian payroll market so that we can provide our customers with up-to-date legislative requirements so that they don't need to be thinking or worrying about that. They can worry about running their businesses.
Something that we've seen over the last few years, and you just said ecosystems, something that we've seen over the last few years with the rise of SaaS and now AI is everywhere, accessibility to software has never been higher for small business owners, medium business owners, big business owners. Any business owner can basically get a piece of software or technology that wasn't really accessible to them 5 or 10 years ago, and now they can get it. But the negative side to that accessibility is more and more owners and people involved in paying payroll and super are kind of cobbling together all of these platforms that maybe weren't designed to be together. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what impact that has on businesses, and then also when should businesses consider moving away from that to a more purpose-built or tailor-built product?
There's probably two issues there to consider. And with the cobbled systems, one of the issues that you do have is which system is my source of truth. So integration into a payroll system so that your payroll system is your source of truth is an important element of ensuring that all your systems can talk to each other and are integrated with each other seamlessly.
Yeah, and picking the right tool, like I know the same challenge we've fought that over the years as well. Tools are so accessible, and lots of people think that this tool's the right one for me, and then you end up with 7 tools doing the same thing. So being mindful of what you're investing in. 7 tools means you have to have 7 maintenance programs, 7 different support agreements, 7 renewal processes. Potentially take a step back and think about what your needs are as a business. If you have an intent of growing, sometimes the tool you pick won't grow with you. There are limitations. So from your business aspirations, if you intend on growing, pick a tool that can grow with you. Simple is better. Sometimes you have 10 different things doing the same thing. Maybe it's 1 or 2 tools that really are best of breed, but have a seamless integration that might be best for you. And also sort of longevity or tenure in the market that they play in. So years of experience, industry supported, as well as strong connections with other likewise partners or like-minded partners.
When I think about this, I think like 1,000 monkeys and 1,000 typewriters. Eventually, you'll get the right product, and eventually you'll get the right piece of work. But in that process, a business owner could save themselves a lot of time and money by just going to the right choice earlier and adopting a good system first, rather than just cobbling all of these things together. And I get that there's cost issues involved, and there's, as a small business, you don't want to have lots of expenditure going out the door early, so you might cobble together some cheap or free options first. In your experience at Aurion and in your roles, what do you see as a good time to start thinking about that as a business? When is the right time to go, okay, I need to stop with my 6 free subscriptions and 3 paid ones and start thinking about a SaaS product that's right for me?
I don't think there's a particular point in time. I think payroll isn't a one size fits all. And I think you need to look at the uniqueness and the complexity of your own payroll and what you're doing and how you're paying, and whether you've got rosters and all the other things that kick into that. But it's important to ensure that, once you're getting up around the 80 to 100 employees, you've got a lot going on. And it's really about that time that you should be looking for a payroll solution that will deliver to you all of your outcomes, and look at all of those cobbled systems that you have and how you can put it into one. And often it's just not one system, but if you've got an ecosystem with seamless integration, you'll get that same outcome.
Yeah, I'm similar. Sort of the banding between 50 to 100 employees is when you've got a serious business that requires your attention. And every business has people in it. But the people part of it shouldn't be occupying your creativity, your innovation, your thinking strategic time. You want your people component to largely be taken care of by trusted tools, so then you can focus on growing your business, because you're at that really turning point where 50 to 100 people can turn into 200, 300, and you've got other challenges that you need to focus your attention on.
Now, I am just a simple podcast host. What is the difference between SaaS, APAS, and MPAS?
I'll give this one to Andrew.
Oh, really?
It was your creation, MPAS and APAS.
Oh, was it? Okay. Well, all 3 of them have SaaS at the baseline. So we've put a lot of 40 years of experience, 800 years of payroll experience into our SaaS platform. So everything starts with SaaS as the baseline. And then we've got additional services where we can help. So we leverage off our payroll experience, and we know how hard it is to find payroll talent in the market. So our APAS service is built on the SaaS platform, but we can help you out with configuring the platform to suit your needs. It's quite difficult to get that talent in the market, and where we've positioned ourselves is that you can adopt service levels that help you configure the system to suit your needs without having to invest in more people in your business. That's our APAS step, and our further step to that is MPAS, where we can further take more of the payroll function away from your day-to-day. So we leverage off on top of the SaaS platform, we take our APAS, and then we go again with MPAS and take over probably 80 to 90% of the payroll function, so that all your requirements are largely as a business or a payroll manager, talking owners now, is validating and approving. Whereas on the SaaS platform, that's largely the software's there for you, it's compliant, it's up to date, it's got all the intuitive user experience, but you're running the payroll with your own payroll team, or potentially someone in the business doing the payroll. And so as a simple podcast, was that clear? Or do you want
I feel much more aware.
Probably the naming convention, the naming software as a service is SaaS, and then administered payroll as a service is that mid-tier that Andrew spoke about, and then the managed payroll as a service is the MPAS that we talk about.
And I guess the relationship between all of that and Beam is the SaaS product at the heart of it, right? Like, you can't have a third-party accounting team come in from the outside and support your business, or payroll service from the outside support your business, if they don't have a SaaS product in the first place to do it from. Otherwise, it would be a lot of letters and emails, I would assume. It would be quite a complicated process without a really good SaaS product at the heart of it. What do you feel is the connection and the relationship between all of the players in the industry, between the payrolls, the payroll specialists and experts and professionals, Beam, super funds, and the federal government? How does it all work together, do you think?
Yep. So largely the federal government sends a top-down message of what's going to happen legislatively. I feel like the payroll and the super are one in the same. If you have payroll, you need super. And we're constantly in dialogue with the ATO. Our super partners are constantly in dialogue with the ATO. And then we're in dialogue together because the ATO puts reliance on the software providers to help the Australian public meet the ATO's requirements. So we work collaboratively to ensure that there's a seamless experience for the end user or the end employee, but compliance is the first focus. And then probably on top of that, which we haven't spoken too much about, is also security. So we transmit the information trusted via secure link to the super clearing. Super clearing then goes to the funds securely as well. So ensuring that the intent is to pay people correctly and on time, and working together between the government body and our partners, we look to make that happen. But ongoing as well. It's not a set and forget. It's a constantly evolving environment.
You mentioned security, and it's actually funny. We very rarely talk about security in these episodes because it's so assumed that these products are secure and safe. And I think there's more to the conversation than just security, technology security. It's a financial product, of course. There are many layers of financial security and IT security preventing anything bad from happening. I think there is a conversation to be had about Payday, about financial security for the end user, which is the employee, the person receiving their salary and their super. What's the relationship between Aurion and Beam and the end user, the employee? Like, what are we doing essentially to give them job security and money security? What's different, do you think, with Payday Super coming in? It's a fairly convoluted question, I know.
Yeah, I think it comes back down to that transparency, and the fact that they can go into that, they can see on their pay slip that their super's been paid. They can go into their super fund and they can see that that pay has actually gone in there. So I think Payday Super will bring into more control to the end user or to the employee about where their money is. And is it going to be there, and what do they want to do with it? Because it is about retirement.
And from the employer perspective, you can visibly see where the super has been. The super payment's ready in Aurion. The super payment is at the super clearing, and then the super payment has made it to the fund within time periods that you can communicate to your people, so that it's not a unknown quantity. You can give clear communication to your people where previously it might not have been visible.
It's almost like we're collectively working together, federal government, payroll, Beam, software, super funds, collectively working together, and together we kind of all need each other to play our parts. Like, what's the role that Aurion has in it, and what do you need your other counterparts to do you think?
Aurion's, well, firstly we got to get the legislative requirements right. So I think we've touched on it with the specific data sets that are required from the ATO. We need partners like Beam to be on the same rhythm and the same sort of standards of quality outcomes for our end users. So if we're not working together in a way that we both have the same intent for the end user, we're going to be misaligned and potentially deliver an experience that isn't in our ideal scenario. But also, we want to be ahead of the deadline as well. So we want to be ready to do this as soon as we can, so that it's not a reactive behavior. And it's not only Payday Super, but other things like single touch payroll. When that was introduced, we were first to market, and we're proud to be first to market. We work with partners that have those same aspirations of, we don't see the regulatory bodies as oh no, stay away. We welcome it partly because we want to do the right thing, but also we see it as a challenge.
Yeah, terrific. And then, so touching on the conversation we had earlier about being ready, Aurion is ready now to kind of tackle the big meaty parts of Payday Super. You can already pay at the same time as Payday. What are some of the benefits for an employer or a company to make that switch now?
Getting into the habit and starting to get into that swing and understanding what that looks like.
Yeah, totally agreed. Because the software's capable of doing it now, so there's nothing holding you back. The ATO specifications will be updated when they're available, but you could still do it now and get into the cadence of having the funds available, having the visibility on where the money's going and in what timeframes it's getting there, so that you can confidently be proactive with your people and say that we've got this under control and we're not waiting till the 1st of July. Also, testing out your software vendors. So if you've got a cobbled ecosystem with many software providers in there, you can also test out whether it's actually going to work in your current scenario, and if you need to change that you could do that before the 1st of July to meet your obligations. It's a great test run.
I guess also a cash flow test run as well. There's a lot of changes that we have to make in the supply chain about, okay, well, I'm maybe a vendor who invoices 30 days in advance, but I need that money now sooner to pay my staff their super. So maybe your terms will have to change for the people further up the chain. It's something to start testing now, right?
There's a lot of considerations that need to be made with the changing out of the payments.
It's a great point around cash flow. Like, if you're going from quarterly payments, which potentially you might have been a bit lazy with as a business, that comes in a significant period. And if you're paying weekly, fortnightly or monthly, which a lot of our customers are the broad spectrum of weekly, fortnightly or monthly, that now turns into a 7-day turnaround for payments, which, like you said, you might have to change your payment terms on your invoices, follow up your payment. It's not something that everyone wants to be doing, regardless of what size business you have, but these are significant operational changes that need to happen, because this isn't going away. This is going to happen on 1 July, and you don't want to be on the back foot.
Yeah, it's like steady small payments rather than large lump sums now.
Correct.
Which is the shift.
Yeah.
Something that we actually didn't even really speak about, and I don't know Orion's position on this, on MPP and instant transactions and payments. Is that something you guys think deeply about or are interested in?
You know, there's a lot of talk in the market about being paid daily. So the market is evolving and changing all of the time. So whether we see that in my time or not, I'm sure it will evolve. We see casuals, especially overseas at the moment, that are paid as soon as their shift is finished. So with the technology, that's now being enabled as we go forward as well.
I can't imagine there'd be many people in Australia moving towards like a daily payments system where they're paying their staff basically at the end of their shift. That is something that is very like gig economy and exists in that tech space. It is probably going quite far, but instant payments or faster payments than once was is definitely something that will change how we look at our supply lines. No longer 30-day terms, instant payments on the spot are enabled and possible now, which changes the way people can pay payroll and salaries and super because they've got the money in their accounts faster than ever. It all kind of does change our perspectives on how payroll works, right? If things start moving that much quicker.
And personally, I don't know, Kathryn and I have spoken about this offline around the excitement of, I worked an hour, where's my money? And whether that's even possible. But I think as we move forward, why not? If that's something that becomes a trend and an expectation. But it's coming back to that same problem again, Duncan. Cash flow.
Yeah.
Like paying our payroll is significant, but paying that daily if the employee wanted to, because I think I don't know, this is probably where this sort of forum I get let loose and start talking about crazier stuff, which is people opt into when they want to be paid. Like if you get to a point where you're on a daily payment, I'm on a weekly payment, someone's on a quarterly payment, is that even possible with the requirements around payday super? Can people have their own pay cycle?
You're getting into a whole lot.
Next time we'll bring in an economist and you guys can sit and talk on the impact.
Can you get
of
into your own pay cycle? But ultimately, it does come back to cash flow again, because the business needs to be available to pay these things when they're required. So I don't know if we'll go that flexible. And
I think, we've talked about STP1 and STP2. I think about what the shock would have been when Super first got introduced and people were like, well, this is outrageous. This is something we can't ever do. And then it just kind of becomes part of life.
Normal.
And then SDP comes out and they go, well, this is outrageous. I can't report all of this information to the ATO. And then it just becomes part of life. And I suspect this is going to be the next thing that just becomes part of day-to-day business.
And I think it's a good thing, because it's protecting the employees and ensuring that their money is where it should be, as opposed to often getting caught up in non-pays.
Yeah, for sure.
and businesses that aren't accountable.
Correct.
Thank you, Kathryn and Andy, for joining me. It's been great talking about Aurion and Payroll. I learned things. I learned the difference between SaaS, APAS, and MPAS, something I didn't know before. Thank you for joining us. Any last thoughts before you go?
I think this opportunity to be working closely with Beam and ensuring that the right outcomes for employees is a really important one for us.
Yeah, and talking to like relevant topics that are going to impact us all and what we're doing about it. It's really sort of personally enjoyable to know the difference we're trying to make and how we're actually trying to serve our users in the most supportive way we can together.
Yeah, terrific.